There's been a lot of chatter and discussion on this bill today, and so I wanted to share a little perspective on it and where I think that we've landed, since I know people have been talking about it a lot. One of the things that frustrates me in this process, well, I'll step back. In 2017, Jared Moskowitz, my friend, who I miss here, who's doing a great job up in Washington, and I passed a bill to create a Holocaust memorial. That was 6 years ago. Monument's been fully funded. It hasn't gotten built. And at the time that we passed that monument, there were about 100,000 Holocaust survivors left in the United States. Didn't get built in 2017, didn't get built in 2018, didn't get built in 2019, didn't get built in 2020. By 2020, though, that number was down to 67,100 Holocaust survivors left in the United States. 1/3. It hadn't been built. There were lots of excuses, but it still wasn't done. By 2025, 2 years from now, that number is expected to be 36,800, a decline of almost another half. 17 Holocaust survivors in the United States die every day. Now, why is this important, and why do I care so much about the Holocaust? It's because sometimes it gets misrepresented in here, and so I'm going to take a moment to give a history lesson. The Holocaust is the worst event in the history of humanity. The worst. By far. Nothing even comes close. Why? Well, unfortunately, genocides aren't that uncommon in the world. They happen all the time. We've had lots of terrible things happen. You hear about them, genocides. But what makes the Holocaust unique, usually in a genocide, you pick a group of people you don't like and you're in that territory, and then they kill them all. And that's a genocide, and it's terrible. The Holocaust was the one time in the history of the world where one army made a decision where they said, we are going to try to go and conquer the world so we can kill all of these people everywhere else. If you go to Yad Vashem in Jerusalem, you can see the plans that the Nazis had. They said, we're going to kill all the Jews in Germany, then we're going to go to Poland. We'll kill them all there. Then we're going to go to Russia. We'll kill them all there. And they had a list of how many Jews there were in every country in the world. They didn't just say it was enough to do ethnic cleansing or a genocide in their own country. They said, we're going to conquer the entire world in order to eradicate this. No other time in the history of the world has one group said that they want to do this sort of thing. And that's why it's important to commemorate it here in Florida. And so that's why Representative Moskowitz and I did this 6 years ago. And so there has been concern that with this bill, there had been a plan to build this Holocaust memorial on the first floor and have it done by Holocaust Remembrance Day next year. And all of us could go and see that happen with some of these few survivors of the Holocaust. And there has been concern that with this bill, that would make that impossible. Well, today I did something that I encourage freshmen to do. You got to find the hills you're willing to die on. You got to find the times where you're willing to stand up and fight for what is right and say, no matter the consequences, I'm going to do that. Because if you're not willing to do that, then why are you here? And for me, this was one of those times. Because I may be leaving, and I don't want to leave knowing I have no idea when this thing's going to be done. Because 17 more Holocaust survivors will die today. And 17 will die tomorrow. And 17 will die. And at the rate we're going, they'll all be dead by the time this thing is done. Think of all the hard work many of us do with honor flight where we are, so World War II survivors can get to Washington to see their monument before they die. Well, this is what's important to those people. So I said, this is the hill to die on, and I went and died on this hill. And so fortunately, because of that, I've been assured by both the fourth floor and my friends on the first floor that this will be fixed and this thing will be open by January of next year. So for those of you thinking about voting against this, you don't have to now, because when you pick those fights and they are the right fights and you're willing to go and die on that hill, sometimes you can get the job done. So we can all confidently and happily and remembering that greatest tragedy in the history of the world, know that we're going to continue, we're going to get it done. And again, some hills, they are worth dying on. So I hope you'll support Representative Asada Cabrera's bill today.